At what point did you realize you had changed social classes? I grew up eating ketchup sandwiches for dinner, sometimes mayo if we were lucky. By 28, I was closing million-dollar deals for a private equity firm in Manhattan, but I didn't realize how far I'd come until my mom called me from a Walmart parking lot on a Tuesday afternoon. She was crying. Her card got declined buying groceries. 4732. I was sitting in a restaurant where my appetizer, a tiny plate of seared scallops I barely touched, cost $52. I left my clients mid-meeting, told them I had a family emergency, and drove 45 minutes to that Walmart. When I got there, she was still in her car, staring at her phone like it might have answers. I knocked on her window. She looked up, and I saw that same exhausted look from when I was 12, and she worked 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. I handed her $500 cash through the window. 5 crisp hundreds. She stared at it like I'd given her a briefcase full of diamonds. Her hands were shaking. "Where did you get this?" she whispered, like maybe I'd done something illegal. That's when it hit me. She still saw me as that broke kid who got sent home from school because I couldn't afford the $3 lunch, the one who wore the same torn North Face jacket for 4 winters straight because we couldn't afford a new one. I told her, "Mom, I make that in 2 hours now." She started crying harder. We went back inside together. I told her to get whatever she wanted, not just what was on sale, whatever she actually wanted. She grabbed the same store brand cereal, the same generic pasta, the cheapest ground beef, the kind that's more fat than meat. I watched her pass the name brand coffee she used to buy herself on her birthday once a year as her only treat. I grabbed it and put it in the cart. Then I grabbed 3 more bags. She tried to stop me. "That's $40 just for coffee," she said, like I'd lost my mind. I looked at her and said, "I spent $300 on a bottle of wine last week that I didn't even finish. I poured half of it down the sink because it didn't pair well with my steak." Her face went completely blank. She didn't know what to say to that. The woman behind us in line made a comment, loud enough for everyone in that aisle to hear. "Must be nice having a rich boyfriend bail you out." I saw my mom's face go red. The same shame I used to see when she'd pay for groceries and coins she'd been saving in a jar, when cashiers would sigh and roll their eyes while counting them out. But before she could respond, I looked at the woman and said, "That's my mother, and I'm her son, and I'm buying her groceries because she spent 20 years buying mine with money she didn't have." The woman's face changed, but I wasn't done. I paid for my mom's groceries, $287. Then I looked at the cashier and said, "Ring up hers too." I pointed at the woman behind us. The woman behind us tried to stop me, started stammering that she didn't mean anything by it, that she was sorry, that it was just a joke. I ignored her, handed the cashier my card. Her total was $198. I handed her the receipt and said, "Now you know what nice actually looks like." My mom didn't say anything until we got to her car. I helped her load everything into the trunk. The name brand coffee, the good pasta sauce, the fresh vegetables instead of canned, the paper towels that weren't the cheapest ones that fall apart when you use them. Then she grabbed my hand and said something that absolutely broke me. "When did you get so tall?" I'm 5'8". I've always been 5'8", but I understood exactly what she meant. Somewhere between the ketchup sandwiches and the $300 wine, between the torn jacket and the tailored suits, between counting coins and not checking prices, I'd become someone she didn't recognize anymore. I sat in my car for 20 minutes after she left, just staring at that Walmart entrance, watching people go in and out with their carts. That's when I realized I hadn't just changed social classes. I'd completely left her behind. The next day, I set up a monthly transfer to her account. $2,000. Automatic. She called me crying again, telling me to stop, that she didn't need charity from her own son. I told her it wasn't charity. It was 20 years of ketchup sandwiches, paid back with interest. She tried to argue, said it was too much, that she couldn't accept it. But I said, "Mom, I spend more than that on car payments. Let me do this." There was a long silence on the line. Then she said, "I don't even know what to do with that kind of money." I said, "Start by buying the name brand coffee every single time."